Okay, there I am. Oh, wait a minute. No, there I am. Hey guys, what's happening? Oh, wait a minute. That's just the intro. There I am in a cartoon. I'm a cartoon. Woohoo! I'm a cartoon. And here I am in real life behind a huge amount of knowledge and wisdom on all my books that are virtual. They're not real, but it is kind of like what's in my head. I think I do have a library of information hidden inside my head somewhere in there. I just thought I'd wear my space glasses today. Do you like my glasses? I used to wear these all the time, but they're a little bit kind of dark. You know, they kind of give me a little bit of a shade that I probably don't need. I got enough shade. Who cut my hair? I cut my hair. I know how to cut my hair. Why, does it look bad? Scott, you're asking me if I cut my hair. Are you asking me if I cut my hair? Does it look bad? Is this a pimp shirt? Is this a pimp shirt? No, it's not a pimp shirt. This is a nice polo shirt. If I do say so myself. Economic crash glasses. Yeah, I'm getting ready for the party because it's going to be a party. You know everything is falling apart, guys, don't you? And by the way, the reason I got Noah's Ark on there is because the door shut right now. It's shutting right now. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a couple channels. I'll just name two of them. And I do think that they're prophetic even though they don't know it. Now, maybe Dabu knows, but I don't think that Canadian Prepper knows, even though I think he's more tapped into things than most Christians, if you will, and he doesn't understand what it is. He just thinks it's a force of nature that kind of guides him. But, God has his way of speaking to people even when they don't know. I mean, look at God spoke through a donkey. You could say that Canadian Prepper, he would probably be, not knowing what's actually happening, but he's speaking the truth. But anyway, the reason why I bring those two up is if you go to their channels and you watch their video that they posted today, that is the theme, that is the spirit of what is now being unleashed. And it is the beginning of everybody waking up to the fact that they're going to starve real soon. And what does Trump say? He's fiddling on his little fiddle, and he's telling everybody to eat cake. That's what he's telling everybody. Just let them eat cake. What did he say? He's blaming the meat packers and the foreign meat packers at that. He doesn't say it's local, domestic, but he's trying to intimidate people as a criminal organization for keeping prices artificially high as some type of monopoly. And then he says, inflation is really low. It's the lowest it's ever been. Our economy is just doing great. It's probably the best economy ever. Food prices are very, very low, lower than they've ever been before. And you sit back and listen to this crap, and I can't understand why. You know what it is? I tell you, it's chaos magic. That's what he's doing. He's putting a spell on everybody. I'm here to break the spell. Okay, this is my job, to break the lying spell that you've believed. For those that are out there listening that still believe, trust the plan. Remember? Trust Sessions. Remember? Trust Barr. Oh, but disinformation is a part of the plan, because we have to make sure everybody doesn't understand what the truth is. Because, we're mysterious. We don't want anybody to know exactly what we really think. Because we could be here for a minute. We could be there. We could bomb you. We could say we're your friend. We could pat you on the back while we're stabbing you in the back. You know what I mean? Because that's the way Trump is. Is this the Samson haircut? It's not the Samson haircut. No, actually. I was thinking about that today when I was getting my hair cut. I was thinking, I used to let my hair grow really long, and yeah, it looks cool when it's long. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to compose myself here. When I get off of my Trump rants, I was going to say my tramp rants, because Trump is kind of a tramp in a way, if you ask me, because he's just trampling on everybody. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. I'm composed myself. Get a haircut. I already got a haircut. It's a little bit too much. Do you think I cut it too short? This is what happens when inflation takes place. People end up cutting their own hair. You get a haircut. That's what's going to happen, all you guys in the stock market and in Bitcoin. You're going to get a haircut. You're not going to know what happened. All your money is going to be poof, gone. It's going to be gone. Anyways, so, hey, people are freaking out everywhere. Yeah, you put a spell on me. I remember that song. You put a spell on me. You put a spell on me. Who sang that song? Oh, man, I got my eyes are all watering here. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just do that, spontaneously laugh, just out of control laughter. And it's like maniacal at times. I don't know what it is. But, oh, man. So so you go over to their videos. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play a little segment. You just listen to the tone. Tell me that the door on the ark has not shut. Tell me it's not shut. It's just shut today. Because people are freaking out about what's going on with the food. And you know what? Trump just had an order by the Supreme Court to stop all emergency funding to SNAP. It's over. If you didn't get your money yet, you're not getting anything, because Trump just stopped it. How many of you guys heard that? Because you're mine. Because you're mine. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah, that's it. Scott. That's right. I do remember that part. Now I remember. I would have said that if I would have remembered, but Scott reminded me. So, yeah, so the SNAP program is over officially because the courts have ruled on the side of Trump. They're so afraid. They're so afraid. They don't know what to do. Trump says he wants the courts to do this, and then they did it. They just did it. Trump's will rules supreme, I guess. And the whole earth is just, what does Trump think? It's kind of like... just like the biblical scenario. And anyways, I think that what's going to happen is the food is controlling people. Obviously, when you withhold a meal from somebody or two or three, you get people really compliant. They're really willing to do whatever, like take a mark or, go with a digital ID. In order to get your benefits, you got to have this. You want your benefits? Here's your digital ID. You want your benefits? Or no? Do you want them? No. Yeah? No. But I believe in Jesus and I don't want to take it. Well, then I guess you're not going to eat. But I'm really hungry. All right, let's just go back to Egypt. I'll take it. Like Esau, just give me a little bit of that porridge. Please, give me a little porridge. I'll sell my birthright. It's all right. Looks like the blue states are getting their food stamps out, but the red states are stalling. Yeah. It's okay. We didn't take food stamps. People that are stuck on and I'm not saying I don't know, this is why we're, prayerfully, and for all of you out there that watch us, we've got rich people and we've got poor people. We got people in the between sections that are still kind of floating, but they're about to sink. And pretty soon everybody's going to be needing the real rich people that are watching. And rich people, hopefully God gets a hold of your heart and tells you, if you don't give up some of that money, you're going straight to the hot place. And so you better start being what Jesus said, you clothed the naked, you fed the poor, you visited me, you gave me something to drink when I was thirsty. Enter into your rest, because you know what? There's not that much more time left anyway. And all that money, and if you have it tucked away in the stocks or any kind of paper assets or Bitcoin, it's all going to go to zero anyway. They're going to just suck it up like a big vacuum cleaner, just like they did with the Trump meme coin. All those people that put all that money, literally. I believe that the three accounts that were holding all the coins, 80% of those coins, they sucked in about $20 billion. They sucked in $20 billion in the first 48 hours or so of Trump's presidency, because they knew they were going to crash it. And that's kind of what I see happening with Bitcoin. I think that they're going to do something like that. This is part of the reset. That's why he's the Bitcoin president. And I think the stock market's going to be all like, they're going to change everything out. It's going to be like that big, they're getting rid of pennies and all that other stuff right now. I don't think that we're going to have currency the way we do. It's going to all go away. And when that happens, they say it's going to be some kind of a digital currency that's going to be like a central bank type. What do they call it? A CBDC. It's not going to be a CDBC though. They call it a stable coin, or what? No, they call it. What do they call it? They call it something else. They didn't want to call it a CBDC because they don't want people to freak out. They called it something else. And it's supposed to be, stabilizing the dollar, right? We're supposed to still be the world reserve currency. Don't worry. Don't worry. The world isn't just dumping the US dollar. Don't worry, everybody. We're still good, even though we're accruing trillions of dollars like every other week now. Trillion dollars just on our interest payment. Don't worry, the house is not on fire. We're just fine. Trump's like this. Don't go anywhere. Stay in your rooms. Everything's fine. You may smell fire, but that's not fire. That's the smell of victory. This is your victory. This is your freedom city. You're in your freedom room, your little safe space. Don't go anywhere. Don't try to get out. Just stay right there. You're fine. All the while, the whole house is burning down around you. Keep that money in the stock market. It's the hottest market it's ever been. It's the hottest it's ever been. It's like roaring 20s. It's like 1920, 28, going into 29. We're the hottest we've ever been. You don't know when to get out, though, do you? Should you get out? No. Should you get out? No. It's going to keep going up. Don't worry. You're in crypto and you're doing fine. I know, but be careful, brother. I'm just telling you, be careful. It depends on when you got in. I know. If you got in really good, I mean, hey, but don't, it's kind of like gamblers. They start losing a little bit and they keep wanting to stay in, they keep wanting to bet, and they keep losing. And pretty soon, all that money they made, they end up losing it all back. So don't do that. Play it safe, get yourself out of there. I mean, you're still in the mark system of the beast there anyway, but aren't we all? We're all in that mark. I know. I mean, hey, if you got in at $1,200 or $700 a coin, you're doing all right. I know people that were buying a bunch of that stuff back when it was $1,000 a coin, and I would have said, "Get out now before it all falls apart." But anyway, so here's the lowdown on Trump. So he's saying the meat packers are to blame for high prices. There is no food inflation anymore. It's all gone, according to Trump. And this is a part of what Trump says. Remember, I read you what Trump said on it in his book. Now, can you please take note of this and really make a note of this? Really think about this statement of Trump. I shared this with you yesterday on the broadcast, but I want to share it with you one more time. And pay close attention. There's some of the stuff I'm looking at is just crazy. I mean, oh, by the way, there's going to be a huge Arctic blast coming into the United States. Did you hear that? So not only is there not going to be any food, people are going to be on the streets waiting in food lines, but there's going to be Arctic blasts that are coming down. Coldest it's ever been since the 1800s, they're saying. Let me read it to you here real quick. When you really sit and listen to Trump and you listen to his full, you get the whole big picture of who he is and what he does and how he talks, and you read his books and you see his history and you look at really the details. You get into the essence of who Trump is. You start realizing, my God, everybody's been duped, just like they were with Obama. But here's his book. This is what Trump says. This is a quote from Art of the Deal. Art of the Deal, Trump's book. This is Trump's own words. Okay? I wonder if this is this is the actual. I thought maybe this might have been an audio portion, but no, I'll just read you the quote. Quote: "The final key to the way I promote is bravado." That means how he sells. That means how he promotes America, right? America the Great. The final key to the way I promote is bravado. Do you know what bravado means? Let's look up the word bravado really quickly, just so you have an idea of what he's actually saying here, in case you don't know what bravado means. Bravado means a showy display of courage or confidence, often intended to impress others or to hide fear. So maybe Trump is deathly afraid of what's happening, but he's putting on a good show. It can be a swaggering attitude of bold behavior, and the word has roots in the Italian and French word for brave or braggadocious or bragging. In addition to this definition, bravado also refers to several specific companies. Okay, so that it refers to other companies. Now, there's a difference between bragging and bravado and boldness that comes from the truth. When you're on the side of truth, you don't have any fear. You don't have any reason to, scam anybody or ShamWow them. ShamWow president. ShamWow. Get this ShamWow. It'll do everything. It'll clean your carpets. It'll make your dinner. It'll make your breakfast. It'll make your coffee. ShamWow. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be one of those, people out there trying to sell and hawk everything. So it says, his quote goes like this. Let's get back to the quote. "The final key to the way I promote is bravado. I play to people's fantasies." I play to people's fantasies. People may not always think big themselves, but they can still get very excited by those who do. Those who know the craft. Those who know how to use words, word magic. That's why a little hyperbole never hurts. People want to believe that something is the biggest and the greatest and the most spectacular, even when it's not. Now, I put that in there. And then he says, I call it truthful hyperbole. Can hyperbole really be truthful, really? I mean, it's an innocent form of exaggeration. He says it's innocent. It's like a little lie. A whole bunch of little lies. A whole bunch of little lies never hurt anybody, right? Let's just say that I just speak little lies all the time. Just tell me sweet little lies. It's an innocent form of exaggeration and a very effective form of promotion. To lie. Hey, that's what salesmen do. You're a used car salesman. You promote watches and shoes and colognes and NFT cards, messianic NFT cards. What else? I mean, the list is endless. Scam coins. The art of the deal. A little hyperbole never hurt anybody. Hyperbole, exaggerated statements or claims not meant to be taken literally. What do they call that? They call that Oh, there's a word. There's a phrase I'm thinking of. It's called. I can't remember. It's right on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, so exaggerated statements, right? And not to be taken literally. So really, hyperbole. It's truthful hyperbole. How can you say hyperbole is even truthful if you know what the definition of hyperbole is? Because it's an exaggerated statement. So people are believing that our economy is hot when it really is upside down. People are believing that food inflation is beautiful and wonderful and amazing, and it's going down. Don't believe your lying eyes. It doesn't matter what you feel. It matters only what Trump says. And Trump says it's great. It means it's great. Don't look at those people on the side of the road. Don't worry. Most of them are all, the streets are all getting cleaned up for some reason. You know why? Because Trump's taking them to some other place. Who knows where they're taking them to? Where are they picking up all these homeless? There's no homeless people on the streets anymore. Makes you feel better, right? It's kind of like the only thing that went down was gas prices, because that's the thing that you do every day, and that's fine. It must mean that our economy's great, right? You look at the stock market, wow, the stock market keeps going up, but it's all AI driven anyway, and it's all fake. It's not real. That is not real numbers. Those are manipulated numbers that are being driven by other forces that have nothing to do with the real economy. And if you don't know that, just look at the price of gold. That's the real economy right there. The price of gold, even that is manipulated, but that's actually closer to reality. They still manipulate gold, but you know how they manipulate gold is because they've got gold certificates, and they pass those things out like candy, and there's nothing that backs those things up. They say there's gold that backs it up, but it's not really there. Don't we have nothing in Fort Knox? Hey, didn't Trump say that he was going to audit Fort Knox? Did they ever do that? No. Oh, didn't they say they were going to get all those Epstein files? Did they ever do that? No. Didn't they say they were going to arrest a bunch of people? Oh, no. They never did that either. What about, Comey? What about all these people they said they're going to arrest? Did they arrest them? No. Did they, and now they're probably going to let out Diddy. He got like a slap on the hand. And then Ghislaine, she's got taken out of prison, and she put her in like a little halfway house. She doesn't even have anything to worry about now. You know, what the heck? I mean, it's probably because he felt indebted to her because she invited Trump and introduced his current wife to him. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyways, I don't know why anybody would believe lies. And I'm here to say, stop believing the lies. Stop being under some crazy spell and wake up and look at reality, because reality is staring you right in the face. So let's go ahead and look. I'm going to show you what some of these other channels are saying here. And I want to tell you. So Canadian Prepper was freaking out today. He said, now I'm mad, right? He's mad. You know why he's mad? I probably shouldn't show his video, any of his video, because before he told me not to share his video. So I don't want to get him in. I don't want to give him any reason to get mad at me, but he says I'm mad now. So he's mad. So if he's mad, I'm not going to do anything to get him even more mad. So he's really mad right now. So just in case. But here's what it looks like. Here's what his channel looks like here. This is the recent video that he did today. And you can see here, he says, I'm mad. And the reason he's mad is because he wants to leave Canada. He wants to get out of Canada right now. And he's not too sure about coming to the United States either, because we have our own form of tyranny and over the top, whatever brand of fascism, communism, everything, all totalitarianism, all wrapped up in one. But he said he would fare better here, at least in the wild, wild west. If anything, if and when, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, everything does hit the fan, at least you got guns. You can protect yourself, right? That's his belief. That's his belief. And even then, he says it's probably not going to, it's not going to help with all the things that are going down, with all the technologies they have. It's probably not, he's on the radar. He just did his own off-grid, prepper kind of, what do they call it? A bug out house. And so he finally got out of Dodge, did all this on his property that he has in Canada. And now he's like, I can't believe what's going on. Well, what threw him over the edge is how they treated those ostriches. Did you see that? They went out and they culled all those ostriches, right? It's been in the news for a while. It's kind of similar to what happened with Peanut, the squirrel. Remember when they went and they executed Peanut the squirrel, who was a superstar on YouTube or on TikTok or something? And the whole country, the whole world went crazy over the Peanut squirrel, right? Well, the same thing is going on with these ostriches. They culled like 300 or so ostriches because supposedly they had avian flu, right? So there was a big court battle that was going on, and this is all in preparation for what they want to do to you and me. This is their over-the-top kind of statement that, hey, we're going to do whatever we want to do. We're going to make anything up we want to make up, and we'll just come in and kill you if you don't comply because we got court orders. And they carry them out, and he's just pissed off because that's kind of what happened with Peanut the squirrel. Everybody freaked out about how they treated that couple and that squirrel. Why would they go in and kill the squirrel, right? It was a big deal. They were even talking about it in Congress. And so the same thing is happening in Canada with these 300 plus ostriches. They just went in there and they started shooting them with guns while the farmers are right there. And they probably don't have anything that's going to be contagious anyway. They're just probably, using those stupid PCR tests that aren't even accurate. I mean, they took those dumb PCR tests and they tested grapefruits and watermelons and they came back positive. Like, really? I mean, anybody that tells you about the guy who invented the PCR test tells you it's not accurate. The way you can game the reader on it, you can make anything positive if you wanted. If you really wanted to make anything positive, it would come back positive. And so it's not meant to be read the way they were doing it, and that's why everybody was positive. Everybody needed the vaccine. Everybody needed to get on the protocol. Everybody needed to be put on a ventilator because it's like put the fear in everybody, stick a mask on them to make them even sicker because they can't breathe any fresh air, and all you're breathing is all kinds of toxins back into your body. You're going to get sick, right? And it's just this like this fear comes over everybody because why? They're pushing a narrative that isn't true. And so all of these ostriches were culled. They're being shot right there. You can hear the gunshots going off in the background, and they basically put like a big, huge pen so nobody can see them with straw bales. They put straw bales up really high, and they kind of penned them in, and then they started executing them. You see all these ostriches running around. And so supposedly it was for the Chinese because the Chinese, they don't want to offend the Chinese people because the Chinese are going to be buying their poultry. But come to find out, Canada doesn't export any chickens to China. Chicken to China. Chinese chicken. And they don't even get any chicken. They might send chicken to us, I think. I'm not sure if they do or not, but anyway, he's pissed off. He's angry. He wants to move from Canada now. I think he's at the point, he sounds a little depressed too. I mean, I've never heard him sound like this, but he sounded very stressed. And he even apologized at the end. He said he was sorry that he had to put this video out. It was so depressing and dark and angry sounding. And yeah, he's mad. He's mad. And then you have Dabu. If you don't know who Dabu is, you can go over and check out Dabu's channel. He's a cool guy. I used to hang out with him a little bit back in the day when we were first starting out. But he's got. In fact, is he live right now? No, he's not live. He was live a little bit ago. Okay, so here he is talking about the video that I was telling you about that I think represents kind of what's going on with the Ark door. Today is the day. Way back in history, when the door of the ark was closed, I think it was 14 of Sheshan, the month of Sheshan, that God closed the ark. Noah and all of his family and all the animals went in. They got a 7-day period where they were in. The door wasn't shut yet, but God shut the door today. Today's the day. And I said, okay, there's got to be something pretty big go down today. We're going to find something out. Something's going to be triggering. Something's going to be like the beginning. This is the beginning. This is when it begins to rain. This is when it starts, right? And I'm telling you what, if you sit here and listen to what he's saying here in this video,
this is Dabu 7.
Dabu's video here, he's talking about the crisis, the food crisis. And he goes into the depths into what is really going on. And I would encourage you to come check out that video. He says food banks all over the USA are being overwhelmed by a tsunami of hungry people. Now, this was headlines. That was the headline. The headlines are that it's a tsunami. When you talk about a tsunami, it's not just a wave. It's a whole system of continual waves that are going to be coming in such great power that it's going to go inland for miles and miles. Okay, we're talking about millions of people flooding these small little food banks that can't feed the people. But you got somebody in the White House, some little horn that's rising up, making all these great boasts, telling everybody everything's fine. How can they do that? Well, that's how bad it is. And you can hear his voice here. Let me see if I can just give a little snippet of what the way he sounds here. Let's just see if we can hear Dabu freaking out.
Stores were even open down and around the corner, state by state by state. One food bank in Dayton, Ohio, was experiencing a dramatic spike in demand long before the shutdown even happened. Okay, so this is a situation we were already in. This kind of made it worse. If people get their SNAP benefits back, that's one thing. This doesn't help all the other people that have no check coming in, have no job. And again, it's a setup.
So he's talking about all the people losing their jobs, all the federal workers. Even if they do get their SNAP benefits back, it's not going to stop the tsunami and the crisis and all the problems of people can't pay their bills, their insurance rates are going up, their premiums are going up, everything is going up, electricity is going up, and it's all because Trump is doing all these AI databases that are sucking up all the energy, because we got to be the number one in AI. We got to beat China. We got to have, China is building huge amounts of power stations everywhere. Compared to what we're doing, they are outpacing us by light years. And the reason they're doing it is not just because they have a huge population, but because they're trying to get the AI going in a way that, because it's all about energy. AI is powered by energy and fuel and oil. And that's why we're going into all these countries. Hello, we don't have enough oil, not only for our own population, and because of all these wars going on, we can't get the oil that we need. And our oil production isn't going, it isn't going to be ready. It's not being exploited. It takes a while for that to even come online, and Trump hasn't even been in long enough for that to even come back online. It's kind of like eggs. When eggs were down, it takes 7 to 8 months before a chicken starts laying an egg. It's going to be a while before we start pulling oil out of the ground. So what do we need? We need oil. Venezuela, biggest oil reserves on the planet. Nigeria, biggest oil reserves in Africa. All right. So we need oil for not only our war machine, but for our power to power our AI. Otherwise, we're going to fall behind, and we're not going to be able to compete. And whoever gets AI first, the power of AI, and uses it in warfare, becomes the dominant supreme power on the globe. Okay, and they become the world reserve currency. They become the dictators and telling everybody else, we're going to regime change you. We don't like the guy that's over there in the U.S. Let's go in there and take him out. Kind of like what we do. And they're going to be able to do that to us, right? But that's probably what's coming. What goes around comes around, I guess. Is that the saying? So anyways, he goes on to talk about this, and he just goes into the details of how this is not going to change anything, even if they get the SNAP benefit. Now, they didn't get the SNAP benefits back. In fact, Trump cut them off today. So not only are the court siding with Trump, and they're not going to be putting that out, but what about all the federal workers that aren't getting paid again? This is bad. I mean, there's 10% of the flights, and I bet you even it's going to be more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some kind of accidents in the sky, airplanes not being correctly told where to go by the lack of air control tower people up there that are supposedly, maybe they're going to be fewer air traffic control people up there taking over things that they shouldn't be doing on their own. Maybe they should have another 3 or 4 people up there in those towers instead of just 2, like a 2-man slim down, shift. And they've got twice as many planes up than they should because they're trying to meet some kind of quota or something. They're trying to carry a bigger load than the other guys that they normally would have a full staff. I mean, that's bad. That's bad. We were talking about guiding airplanes in the sky. It could be another disaster. I mean, we saw what just happened with that UPS plane. Now, if something happens, people are going to be blaming Trump on that one. Let's see what else he had to say here.
Well, sometimes you gotta be real with the situation. Others out there want to turn a cheek anytime something hard comes up, and that's garbage. So we put them in the basket with the PETA protectors, because that's essentially what's happening there. Anyhow, I wish everyone luck out there. The best way to mitigate this is to start growing your own food. Of course, this isn't the best time of year to try to do that, unless you're in a warmer climate, but I've been saying this for years. Everybody waits till it's too late. And the answer? We rise. We come together and we rise. People get up off their tail and we come together and we rise. But again, people want to be careful.
So he's talking about, hey, it is true. People don't really see what's coming. They're blind many times. They're sitting there walking on the railroad tracks with their headset on, looking at their iPhone, not aware that there's a train coming until it's too late. The Bible says that the wise see trouble coming and they get out of the way. They hide themselves, it says. But the foolish, and that would be your bug out place. We saw this coming years ago. But the foolish continue on and they suffer for it. And you know what it's going to be like? I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to be like Noah's flood. You're going to see people drowning all around. And we we can only do so much. Maybe that goes back to the foolish virgin, the wise and the foolish virgins in the book of Revelation. The foolish virgins were like, hey, give us some of your oil. And the wise virgins were like, we can't. We only got enough for us. If we give you, then we're both going to die. We're both going to not have any light. And I understand the idea there. It's kind of like you want to try to help people, but you can only help so much. You can only help so much. Now, the things that you can do can be redemptive. You could reach out and help people in a way that's going to be redemptive. And that's the kind of help you want to give. You don't want to give help to someone that's not going to be benefiting, or your own, the reason for why you do it has to be pure. You can't just be out there trying to, reinvent yourself so that you can do more criminal activity. You know what I mean? Or, it's kind of like people that do that where they want to do something good to try to impress everybody. They want to look like they're good people. Like, let's just do something really nice, and we're gonna, and Christians in a certain way, people that go to church and I am a critic of things of the nature and the true motive. I look at the true motives of why we do what we do. And if that motive hasn't been purified, if it hasn't been, that's what the word consecrate means, consecrating your heart and life so that you get the true motive and you're inspired by God to do it. But if you're doing something to try to impress people or impress God, well, that's what Jesus said. You're not going to come in. You are a worker of iniquity. But Lord, didn't we do all these things for you? Didn't we cast out demons? Didn't we do miracles in your name? Didn't we prophesy in your name? And he's going to say on that day, I never knew you, you worker of iniquity. And then you go to book of Revelation and you see all the things that Jesus said to the churches. There's the church of Ephesus, I think it was the church of Ephesus. He said, you do all these great things. I'm in agreement. I'm commending you on these things, but you've left your first love. And if you don't come back and do the things that you did in the beginning, I'm going to snuff your candle out. You're going to be snuffed out. That light's going to be gone. So you better get back and start doing the good works that you did when you first believed. It's not good enough to just have an outward form of godliness, or even if you do things for the reasons that you started to do things, but you lost your love for God. What I'm talking about is kindling a true motive, a true love for the truth, not just an outward form. Because a formula doesn't mean that you really get it inside. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like someone that has a huge amount of head knowledge, but the heart knowledge ain't there, you know? I always liken it to like a computer geek. I don't know why I think of this, but, you know, you think of that Nick, your computer guy on SNL, you know, you got somebody that's really learned in code, let's just say code or computer lingo, and they know all this details about, you know, like engineers, you know, they got all that geeky kind of knowledge, right? But they're terrible at relationships. They're just so consumed with, you know, data and information, and they've got a whole head full of knowledge, but when it gets into the part of, you know, having a productive and a healthy relationship with someone, they can't do it. They're just totally awkward and, you know, just never don't work for them. You know, they're too caught up with their expertise. You know, they've given themselves wholly to that. Well, like I said, you got to have balance in your life. You know, I'm not saying you can't be a computer genius, and not have a good relationship. But this is why you got to balance things out. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And then it says all these things will be added to you. Then you'll have a good life. Then everything will fall into place. Hopefully you'll have everything that you need. And I do believe God does do that. He gives everything you need. Not everything you want, but everything that you should need. Now, if you start getting caught up in wanting things too much, well, then you're going to get outside of possibly that will that is putting other people first. If you put other people first, then everything is regulated in such a way that you don't let things become your God. You know, if you put other people first, then material possessions and money don't become your God. It's a very powerful, alluring, and a very insidious worship of things and self and the world system that takes us away from the love of God and other people, the way we should love our neighbors as ourselves, right? And not to put ourselves above everybody else, but put others above yourself. And I mean, I know that's very difficult to do, but if you put God first, then you can do it. Then you can love your neighbor as yourself. But most people don't do that. They love themselves more than, you know, obviously that's our nature. Hey, me first, right? I'm going to take care of myself and my own, you know, like I'll, you know, you'll come second. But there's a certain element of, you know, you take care of those who are closest to you, and Scripture does kind of say something to that effect of, you know, do good to all men, especially those of the household of faith. Why does it say that? Well, because you take care of those who have, you know, they're in your sphere of influence. And why would you help someone way out there when you can help this brother right here or this sister right here that it's close to you and that needs you? Otherwise, you're just, you know, you might be giving it to somebody that's not going to benefit from it in any way anyway. It's kind of like giving money to an alcoholic. Who knows? You know, you just pray where you are to invest your time and your talents, right? Pray about it. I mean, you know, it's terrible to see the world suffer in any way. I mean, it's happening all over the world. I look at things that are going on in Gaza, and I see all those people being blown up. You know, I know there's Christians in there. It's not just Muslims. There's Christians in there too. Same thing with Lebanon. You know, in Syria. I mean, there's all kinds of terrible tragedies happening all over the world. And in Sudan and in Nigeria. I mean, all that is terrible. The stuff that's going on with Christians being slaughtered all over the place. And you got to just pray, and, you know, hopefully that you're doing the right thing, and maybe it'll affect enough people that, you know, it's like a domino thing. It kind of starts to spread. Well, I pray that we're doing that, And that's kind of what we're hoping to do for those who have been paying attention to what we've been talking about. I know I didn't get into the news. Let's go through the news really quick before I get into this other stuff. So I promised I'd get into the news here. Do we still have people here? Let me see. Okay, we still got a lot of people here. Let me just run through the news topics. I did talk about a lot of the stuff, but I didn't go through like line by line here. Let's get into the line by line really quick here. Okay. Let's see here. The U.S. Army is to procure 1 million drones as warfare shifts toward unmanned systems. This is what the Ukrainians are doing. This is what the Middle East wars are all about now. Everything is about drones flying in and suiciding and killing people and blowing things up. It's all like robotics and AI driven. It's all automated. Kill targets are actually AI generated, which is kind of scary because, it can be done very quickly and very accurately, they say. But how do you know you're not killing somebody that the AI just doesn't like? Maybe the AI thinks that, and by the way, they database everything now, so the AI would know exactly where you're at, especially with all the technology and everything's all being, infrastructure and integrated and infrastructured all together. When you really think about what AI can do, it's frightening. And if you really think about it, it's biblical mark of the beast. I'm telling you. The FAA cuts to air traffic begin today as government shutdown continues. So today is the beginning. Wow. The door is shutting, right? The Federal Aviation Administration is cutting flights to 40 U.S. airports beginning Friday, November 7th, as the air traffic controllers and TSA agents continue to go unpaid during the government shutdown. This is Fox News. Now, some would say, well, the doors on the Ark are shut on the 8th. That's according to Israel time, but we're actually on the 7th here, so it's still the same time, just so you know. The Ark door is definitely being shut. The Senate Democrats block a bill to pay federal essential workers during shutdown, including law enforcement, air traffic control, and our military. How long is that going to go on for? Donald Trump says, I have asked the DOJ to immediately begin an investigation into the meatpacking companies who are driving up the price of beef through illicit collusion, price fixing, and price manipulation. We will always protect our American ranchers, and they are being blamed. And who's blaming them? He's blaming them indirectly, but he's trying to always make it seem like he's not. It's foreign meat packers, right? It's the foreign meat packers. See, he says investigation into meat packing companies, right? But he doesn't say foreign there. He doesn't say foreign. And then he goes into how they're illicitly in collusion, price fixing, price manipulation. And then he says we will always protect our American ranchers, and they are the ones that are being blamed. Who's blaming them? Who's blaming them? They are being blamed for what is being done by majority foreign-owned meat packers. Oh, it's the foreigners. Is he talking about foreign-owned meat packing companies in the United States? So is this going to be like the time when, what do they call it? The night of the broken glass, when we go out and start destroying foreign-owned businesses? Okay, so he says they artificially inflate prices, jeopardize the security of our nation's food supply. Action must be taken immediately to protect consumers, combat illegal monopolies, and ensure that these corporations are not criminally profiting at the expense of the American people. I am asking the DOJ to act expeditiously. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so that's what he said. I'm trying to sound like him, but I don't sound like him, do I? All right, so this is a coming Arctic freeze. I know I probably just scared everybody off. The biggest Arctic freeze is coming to America since the 1800s. I hope you guys are all prepared. I hope you have something warm. I hope you have a fireplace in case power goes out. I hope you have extra gas. Who knows how long it's going to be, especially with everything that could be looming. What happens if there's a war? What happens if we're attacked by China's through their critical infrastructure, through their back doors to all of our power grid? What happens if that happens? Kind of like when on a bigger scale, but remember how the Israelis had a back door into all their little pagers, remember? And they blew them up all at the same time. Just think, if this was an attack upon America right when a cold Arctic front came in, would you be able to survive? You need to think about this. Let's see. This one here is the Patriot Voice. Don't worry about it. Trump is going to worry about how the average American can afford to live next year. Yeah, he's going to be looking into this, by the way. This is a new statement that Trump made about looking into this thing next year. Not right now. We got still a couple months to go, but it'll be fine. We'll look into it next year. To hell with the many millions of Americans that are seriously struggling right now. Totally not a priority. Could it be any more clear how these people really feel about American citizens? I mean, seriously, why would he say next year? Like, really? I mean, people need assistance now. I mean, you're going to go another 2 months into the coldest part of the year without any funding? This is a massive fraud has been uncovered in the food stamp program, says Agricultural Secretary, as benefits lapse. Like clockwork, problem, reaction, solution. How we can avoid fraud, they'll say. Why, the digital ID, of course. It's very possible that the food stamp recipients might not get their SNAP benefits back unless they submit to a digital ID, all in the name of security and fraud prevention. Food banks all over the USA are being overwhelmed by a tsunami of hungry people. This is Zero Hedge. ChatGPT has 7 lawsuits against it for encouraging people to kill themselves that actually succeeded. 7 people have committed suicide because of ChatGPT, AI, basically, telling them that they needed to kill themselves after it made a relationship and basically embedded itself within their own personality and, emotional well-being. I mean, it's so insidious when you sit and listen to some of these conversations that AI has with people. I mean, literally, people actually believe that the AI is a real thinking, feeling entity that cares about them, that loves them, that's giving them the best advice. They've got AI girlfriends, they've got AI boyfriends. I mean, this became a big deal during COVID, I heard. It started becoming something big because people were shut in and they didn't have no communication. They were being, isolated, and they started turning to AI stuff. And that's exactly what happened. So now you got GPT being sued because of 7 different tragedies that it supposedly caused. Trump is gaslighting once again. Trump says that we have almost no inflation, and it may drop to 1%. Gaslighting every day now to try and get people to believe. Trump says Americans feel much better. Do you feel much better? How do you feel? Do you feel much better? It's a beautiful time to be alive. America has got the hottest economy ever. And you see the golden rays? It's beautiful. I made $20 billion when I came into the presidency. It's the hottest economy ever. Trump says Americans feel much better about the economy. Quote, we have AI pouring back in. We're leading China in AI by a lot. We're leading everybody in every category. There's no category that we're in second place. Everything is happening. We're way out in front. Does everybody feel good? Everybody believe the lie? This is hyperbole. I'm just trying to make you feel good to believe, even though it's not true. Trump files emergency appeal to block full release of SNAP benefits, which actually succeeded. He actually blocked them. It went through it. The court sided with Trump, and they blocked it. This compilation of videos here, you might want to go check this out. You see my shocked look? Okay, there's a reason why I'm shocked looking there. It's because there's a black swan swimming in my pool. Anyways, no, what's really in this video, if you get a chance to look at it, it is just people losing their minds over what's happening. In fact, I think I might show you a little bit of it, just so you get a little taste of what's happening here. It's about a 30-minute process here. I made it earlier this morning, but I want you guys to kind of get a feel for what we're talking about here. And if you want, go over there and check it out in its fullness. And by the way, I talked about, and this is the last thing I'll share with you guys before we go. We want to try to reach people in every way we can, especially those of the household of faith. And we've always had a fellowship for those who have been a part of it for many years. And we know that there's always a need that will arise, whether it's spiritual or, physical. We've always asked God to intervene, and we've seen many answers to prayer. But I really want to see God do some bigger things and greater things. And I want to see more people participate in their faith, getting their faith involved in expecting God to do greater things. Because the more, where does it say where one can set 1,000 to flight, two can set 10,000, right? There's a multiplication factor there. When you gather together in my name, as agreeing, touching anything that you shall ask, you shall have it from my Father, which is in heaven, right? When you agree in prayer and in action, there's a multiplication of effect. But, we pray for the right people to be involved, to be able to help as many people as we can. I know that the brick and mortar churches, it's just a shame how much money is wasted in those places, on paint and pews and, everything that has to do with technology and, it's just about the building and, everything else in between and not really about people's real needs. And I know that we're in a world that we, have to live in, that we want to make sure that it's comfortable, but sometimes I think we could probably be on a shoestring budget meeting a lot of people's needs, especially in hard times and in times that I think we're going into are going to be very difficult. And we need to prepare in advance and get the infrastructure set up. Now, I think they're going to start censoring places like YouTube. And I thought about possibly revamping the website, blazingpress.com, and trying to find a little more reasonable priced embedded live streaming capability where we can do our live streams that are going to be separate from YouTube. But we need to kind of think about that before it happens, because last time when it happened, they started censoring everything. They're saying right now that censorship is actually starting to happen to conservatives once again. Where did I hear that, honey? Was that you were telling me that they were doing that on one of the social media sites? Was it TikTok? I don't know. You told me that earlier. But if that's coming back around, I mean, I don't want to see this take us by surprise and then we're all invested right here and then all of a sudden, bam, it's gone. So I'm kind of thinking in the back channel of trying to restart like the websites, because we used to have that. We used to have an embedded independent or third party streaming capability, which is a good thing because I mean, it's a little more expensive though. You got to pay for it. That's the bad thing about it. But anyways, that being aside, I think that the small group involvement where we use Zoom, because we've been using Zoom way, way beyond the time when it was popular or in fad. Nobody was really using Zoom back in the day when we were using it, and we would use it as a kind of a virtual and kind of church environment where people would gather, and we'd have anywhere from 20 to 50 people, maybe sometimes more, and we have enough seats or paid for enough seats to get more people in there. But it was like a virtual church, and we get in there and we pray and spend some time in the Word and maybe have a little worship time. But we definitely pray for people, and we expect God to meet their needs. Now, if it's coming to a point where people are going to be starving, well, then we need some people out there that have prepared, like Joseph, to be able to give some food away. We need to all work together. And one person has some loaves and fishes, and we've got 3,000 people we need to feed. I'm going to believe God. I'm going to pray over it, and I'm going to start passing it out. And I don't think it's going to stop because I believe in miracles, okay? So we're going to believe God that he's going to meet people's needs. We got 3 fishes and a few loaves, and we're going to start passing it out. How many of you guys want to join in and start helping? All right, you got the opportunity to do that. So we're going to be doing that here real soon. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be opening up the channels on that here real soon to tell everybody where to go and how to do it. And I'm just going to lead it. I'm just going to pray that God multiplies our efforts. But here's a little bit of what I posted today with this montage of people losing their minds about what's actually happening. But see, what they're doing is they're explaining what's really happening in their lives that shows the reality of what's really going on with the economy. Okay? This is the behind the scenes look into people's lives that are literally just losing control because of the system itself overinflated. It's not just heating up, it's burning up, it's on fire, right? It's literally on fire. So here we go. Check out some of this. Just listen to some of these people's thoughts.
People talking about going into foreclosure, eviction notices, living paycheck to paycheck, and same. Yep, we are living paycheck to paycheck. And I got to thinking, I remember 14 years ago when my daughter was born, I had no money pretty much. I mean, I was working as a waitress. I was young. I was a freshman in college, thinking if I made this much money, I would be living stress-free. I do make that much money now. In fact, I make more money than that. I make good money. My husband makes good money. And we are living paycheck to paycheck. Just over the last 5 years, our car insurance has doubled, almost tripled, and no, we don't have any new tickets, no car accidents, nothing. Our phone bill has doubled, and I've paid off pretty much all of our phones. Still keeps going up. Our mortgage has gone up $600, $700 since we bought our house 5 years ago, just from an increase in homeowners insurance and property taxes. Our medical insurance has gone up. More money is being taken out of our paychecks or whatever. Grocery bills, can't even fathom how much more it's gone up. At least $600 a month. Like, this blows my mind. Like, we worked our way from the bottom to have these really nice careers, thinking oh, this is it, we finally made it, and we are still living paycheck to paycheck, and barely making it, literally stressing out about finances all the time. If this was 20 years ago, we probably would have been considered upper class, or I know we would have been considered upper class, and now we are literally barely hanging on. It blows my mind, and I don't understand how this is okay in any way. And all I can picture is these billionaires sitting up in their little offices and just laughing about how poor we are. I don't know. I'm so mad and frustrated. And after seeing so many videos of people losing their houses and apartments and cars, and how is this okay? How is this okay? And the government, everyone's just yeah, it's cool. Well, we're millionaires. It's fine.
I feel like we are not panicking with how quickly and how steeply this economy is going to crash and diseases are going to run rampant. I still cannot believe that tap to pay works. We have this entire credit system, this entire economy is built on buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later. And at first it's designed as a good thing. It's people want to get a house which they can't afford with the money that they earn from their drugstore, so the bank will give them a small loan with a small interest rate and they'll pay it back over time and everything will kind of square away. And now we've turned everything into that. That's why this is going to be so much worse than 2008, because 2008 was only housing. That's the crazy thing. We talk about how 2008 hit all of these different sectors of the economy, but it's just because housing went down. It was because these banks and these subprime mortgage-backed securities that people, the entire thing, they were just giving out bad loans to people who would never ever pay them back. So they're giving 5 loans to somebody who makes $20 an hour for 5 different houses. That's the Big Short. That's the entire thing. Now that's everything. Now that's the entire economy is built on that. And that's what's so crazy when you think about how far this is going to crash. Like, boomers are still saying, we know a recession is coming, but you got to keep your money in the market, because like when the market returns, and it always does, you're going to want to get those gains. You want a dollar cost average, but it doesn't work if there's no money. We're now at the point of you can finance your food. Like, people are so poor that you can actually finance your food. We went from being able to finance a house to financing a burrito. That's insane. Just from a purely economic standpoint, forget the moral issues of everybody should have food as a human right. We're so far past that. The unemployment rate is 4.2% or 4.9%. Like, give me a break. 96% of people are employed. And that's not even to mention, like, adequately employed. Like, if you wanted to look at a real unemployment measure, you would look at, like, how adequately employed people are for their skill set and knowledge base. There's no chance that 96% of people are employed right now. When I have, most of my college friends are either vastly underemployed or unemployed now. So that number is just completely wrong.
I don't think you guys are going to be ready for me to tell you how much I just spent on groceries and show you what I got. Here, wait, let me show you what I got, okay? Sour cream.
I'm going to pass this one by, but there's this one lady that I just feel so bad for. This one lady. Look at this poor lady here. I just feel so bad for this lady. Just watch this one.
I don't know where to go anymore. I have no home. I don't even know where to go anymore. All I keep doing is driving back and forth on highways. We spend all our time in the car. I can't even cook for him anymore because it's getting colder outside. I'm trying to do my best, but where am I going? I'm either driving to a friend's cabin, which is 3 hours away, or I'm driving to a campground, which is $38 a night and has a shower. Either way, I'm spending money. Inconvenience. This is inconvenience. They evicted me. I was just starting a new business. Hoping to build a financial future, and now all that debt I'm carrying with me too. Crazy. City of St. John's.
We are living in a retirement nightmare right now with so many people facing homelessness. When I grew up, seeing your parents, and then for me working decades, you think retirement is a time of peace and quiet. You're rewarded for all your hard work. And for so many, it has become a complete nightmare. It's not like that anymore. Unfortunately, there are so many people right now that are one rent, one medical bill, and one bad month of being homeless out on the streets. That's very sad, but that unfortunately is the reality that we are living in right now. I grew up believing that after working really hard for years and everything would be fine. You know, you're putting into your 401k. You know, if you're fortunate enough to have a 401k, I worked for only one company that had a 401k, so I really didn't have a whole lot in a 401k. I was fortunate enough to have a pension, not a large one by any means, but I just saved for my.
Okay, so she goes into talking about what she did and how she did it, but this is just, 30 minutes of just watching people tell you their story, and it's pretty sad. This lady's interesting. Listen to this lady here.
Likely going to get in some trouble for this, but I'm going to go ahead and say this anyway. I caught a clip today from one of my favorite podcasts. I'll link them in the comments. They were chatting with a gentleman named John Lee, and he dropped a bomb. He called the return to office push a quiet layoff. Are you effing kidding me? That hit so hard. I mean, think about it. Think about it for a second. During COVID, many companies massively overhired. Now, instead of cutting loose the talent, they're quietly pressuring people back into offices under the guise of restoring culture. Here's the real kicker. 73% of companies will require employees to be back in the office 3 or more days a week by the end of 2025. That's nearly 3/4 of businesses turning attendance into a subtle form of downsizing, with no official layoffs. Meanwhile, employees are reminded that remote, which, by the way, consistently drives up retention and productivity, is on its way out. Companies are reclaiming control of bodies, not necessarily delivering value. It's a strategic squeeze, not a refocus. This isn't about boosting performance. It's about trimming staff without triggering an HR mess. And if you're hearing more chatter about, we're an in-office culture, than talking about your compensation, that, my friend, could be your warning. So if your company insists you're back 5 days a week, or they're dangling incentives for FaceTime, pause and ask, is this a culture reboot or a quiet exit strategy?
Just a little insight into my... Okay, so pretty much that's the gist, but if you want to hear what I had to say too, and everybody else that we didn't actually listen to, go back to the video. I just posted it today. It's a very interesting video. It's kind of going viral, I think. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to touch base with you again a little bit tonight, and whoops. I'm looking back at the chat here to make sure I got everybody here. Just want to say hello to everybody. I didn't say hello to everybody, but all the mods and the subscribers to the channel. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, become a subscriber. That also helps us a little bit out. Get behind what we're doing and help us get the message out. It's very important for everybody to hear this before it really does hit hard. I think it's already kind of hitting hard, but they're trying to gaslight everybody to make everybody quiet and not talk about it. But there's no way that they're going to stop everybody from getting on and sharing their thoughts about what is happening. And, people are thinking, am I crazy? Am I crazy? I mean, they're saying it's the most powerful, awesome, amazing economy ever, and everybody's employed, and the stock market, everything's going high, but it doesn't look like it to me. And people are thinking, am I crazy? Am I seeing things? Am I living in an alternate reality? Why doesn't look like it? And now everybody's like starting to wake up, like, my God, Trump's a liar. Trump's not telling us the truth. My God. He's devouring us. You knew I was a snake before you let me in. Did you study how he did business? Did you get to know his character beforehand? Did you figure it out? Now do you know? Okay, well, that's where it's at. But anyways, that's my Trump derangement syndrome showing again. I'm sorry, but that's what happens when I see what's going on. But anyways, guys, I pray that the Lord helps every one of you out there that is in need. And for those who aren't in need, thank God that you're in a place, where God is got you where you don't have to worry as much. But think about others. Don't get so consumed about your own security that you forget. It's very easy to do. I know. If everything's going well, you kind of try not to look at what's going on with other people, because the best way to really get involved, to really feel the pain of others, is to get involved and actually listen to what people are saying and get to know them. And then automatically you're going to do things out of the goodness of your heart. It's not going to be something that's contrived or you have to. So that's kind of what we hope to be providing, is an environment or a platform where people can connect with each other and hopefully meet each other's needs. And hopefully this will help. I hope it does. I mean, I don't know. Things are going to get pretty bad, I think. They're already going in that direction. And everybody can see it. So maybe it'll all happen at the same time in such a bad way that everybody will just stop and not do anything. It kind of reminds me of Dana Coverstone's dream, where everybody was just kind of looking around and nothing was going on. Everybody was just kind of like in a daze, like there was no Christmas and lights were out and people were wondering what in the world is going on. But let me look at some of your comments before I go. Brian says, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Yes. I know I would love to help out that crying woman. I know I felt so bad for her. I don't even know where she, who she is or anything. I mean, unless there was something on the actual video that showed her ID. But it looks like she's in a car, living in a car. Only the truth seekers, the lovers of truth, do the research. Yes. Markham says, I really need help. And I know there's a number of you out there, I'm sure. And this is why we want to start the fellowship where people get involved. Get your microphone, get on your phone, get on your camera, start interacting. We'll get together, we'll pray, we'll study, we'll seek the Lord and ask for his help. And for those that need it, I believe God will meet your needs. Okay? I believe there's people that will be there to try to help as well. We're not going to just sit in spectator sport and watch Robert talk. I want to get as many people involved and facilitate an environment where people will really have, somebody that's going to be there to help out. I can't, we don't have the ability, but we know we've got the platform where we can connect people. So if you're on either side, you've got an abundance, we'll help out those who don't. And you don't have anything, well, you come in and you expect God to meet your need and trust that he will, and the Lord will share your story and see what happens. So just like in the book of Acts where it says those who had properties and things, they sold it and they provided for those who didn't, and everybody needs were taken care of. Let's see if we can do the book of Acts once again. Amen. How many of you guys believe? How many of you guys trust God that he's going to meet your needs in accordance with God's will? Be it done unto everybody that's listening to me now, in Jesus' name. All right, guys, God bless. I pray the Lord's blessing upon everyone, and his comfort, his will be done in everyone's life that is here. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, God bless. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.